There we go. We're officially live. I've told Twitter. I'm going to tell Discord. What I've noticed, looking at the stats for like when people watch it, we have about 6 or 7 people watch the live streams, and then I don't know if they just get all of their friends and family to watch it later, but the views only go up weeks after we've actually done the live. So if there are no comments, etc., in the thing, fear not, people are going to see it because they then pipe up again later.
Remind me to go check the comments. Just put something in our group chat, because otherwise I will never remember.
Yeah, neither will I.
Okay, I have told Discord, I have told Twitter. Hello and welcome, because I finished my dinner 6 minutes ago and then had to change because I spilled it all down myself. So this is a classy bird podcast, is what this is.
Podcast.
I ate a muffin.
No, not really. I'm not a classy bird either.
Muffin.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just shoved fish and chips in my face. I was like, this'll do.
That's fair. And I hear Emma was eating a burrito before I rocked up.
I was going to order a Chinese, and then I was like, oh, the burrito man is here today. So,
Burrito man.
it's like a food truck that does Tex-Mex, and he's so cheap and it's so good.
Okay, because it does sound like, you know, like they're like, oh, the ice cream man, and you're like, no, the burrito man.
The burrito man.
Ali is here in the comments because Ali didn't finish the book in time. No shade, she just had a baby. You did, with plenty of time.
I mean, it was through audio, and all I have taken from that audio is, yeah.
Oh, we will discuss that because I realized that they have them on script and was just like, oh, I'm not going to do what I did last time where I panic and squeeze everything into one day. I'm going to listen to the audiobook, and I was listening to the audiobook for about half an hour every night before I went to sleep, and that noise that it makes, I love it so much.
I fucking hate it with every. Oh.
It was the jazz music and and then what's with the walking away sound of like stomping feet? That was weird. But anyway, we'll get back to
the
that.
fact that me and Becca are the ones who know this series, and yet neither of us have listened to the audiobook, and we've got no clue what you're going on about.
Okay,
Don't
right.
worry.
I'll see if
I heard it on Twitter.
I have it.
Oh, Emma's gonna get it. I was gonna say I was about to share it, but Emma's on it.
We're going to start with this discussion because it's the most polarizing.
Would like him. Valkyrie decided.
Yeah, that's at the end of every single chapter. Now play that sound again, but at 0.75 speed, because that's what I listen to it at.
Oh gosh.
Who even is that supposed to be saying that?
Couldn't tell you.
You were on
Couldn't tell you.
1.75.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm on Audible, so I have 1.1, 1.2, 1. I'll put it on 1.7.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ali.
Not especially. Find a nice hole in the ground somewhere and let it as detective. Wearing what he probably thought was a triumphant sneer, Crocs and the 2 cleavers entered the building. I don't like him, Valkyrie decided.
See, that's at the speed. That's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
Every chapter.
I heard it at about this speed.
See, that's less weird to me because it's just like a little. It's like a little jazz, like. Whereas mine's like.
There's so many chapters.
Yeah, there are.
Like Landy's writing style is short chapters, so you guys are just continuously.
No, not even at the end of every chapter, because it's at the end of every chapter. But every now and then, there's like a little chapter intermission if the chapter's too long, where they just put like a musical interlude in.
I agree with Ali. Ali's commented, "No, thank you. No, thank you."
Yeah,
I'm quite happy with the.
And I have the next 3 on audio, and it totally triggers me. Like, I get a full body shudder. Like, to the point that I tweeted it and I tagged Harper Audio to be like, why? Why have you done this to me?
genuinely
it's
know
such
why.
a weird thing.
Who
There's
sat in a board
no
meeting?
context for it whatsoever.
Who sat in a meeting and went, "Do you know what would be fucking brilliant on the audiobook? Little jazz music that's sped up, sounds like you're at the circus, and then we'll just have a little and then some footsteps just to make it spooky."
Do you know what I think it was? The producer, that's just how they say yeah. So we're like, sir, we're thinking of putting like a sound at the end of each chapter. What do you think? That's a great idea. What do you think the sound should be? Well, actually, we've had some thoughts on that.
Like if it was at the end of like Sangwine's point of view, I could make like that would make sense.
Mm-mm.
And it's like because I could see him doing that,
Mm.
but not
Yes,
so
but still, please don't do it.
No.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. That whole bit is really the only reason I came here. That was like the only thing. Like I was like, I need to converse about this because I truly remember very minimal about what happened in this book because I was just too busy being like, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't stop now."
And there it is. Yeah. So what you're telling me, Emma, is that with previous books, you've either had to cram them in into on the day, or just not finish them at all, and therefore have contributed very little to the discussion. This time, you listened to it, you finished it, but you have no idea what happened because that was going on. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, good. Just checking.
Actually,
Right.
see, the more that I think about it, the more that certain things are coming back to me. So I might actually surprise everybody.
It's okay because I have notes.
Question.
So I'm sure with a little prompting, you will remember stuff. Let's start then with the non-spoilery review. What did you guys rate it out of 5 stars?
You think I can remember that information?
I was going to say, I don't know. Bear with me. Let me load up my core pile spreadsheet.
I think I gave it 3, and that was almost certainly because I gave it 3, and that's because of the because it
Oh,
really
you can't score it low because of the because that's
It
not the
really-
book's fault.
no, but like
Or performance experience, fair enough.
Yeah.
Happy to
Yeah.
accept 2.5 to a 3 for the performance experience. But for an actual book,
Well-
I gave it, I either gave it a 4.5 or I gave it a 5.
overall, I do. To me, again, maybe it's because it was audio and I wasn't taking in everything that was going on quite as much, but it just didn't feel as action-packed to me as the others had, and obviously that is more likely to do with the experience of reading it. But I just didn't find myself as like, oh, what's going on now? I was just like, okay, here we are, and then something about surfer dude, time traveler guy.
Okay.
teleporter.
Becca, you gave it 5 stars, yeah?
Yeah. I'm biased, so I give it all of them 5 stars.
I was going to say, is any of them going to get lower than a 5?
Yes.
Some may get a 4.
I read, so if anyone who's watching watched the live last time, I read Dead or Alive between the last one and this one. So that's the latest book in the series, book 14. I gave that 4 stars. Like, I really enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, and I've messaged Becca being like, hurry up! But
I'm
it
being
got
a
4
good
stars.
co-host and not like going ahead.
Like, there were so many points, but for that one, and then for some of the others as well, it's like, he's got so many plot points, like, as you guys have seen. So then just imagine that up to book 14. So sometimes there are just, like, for me at least, some of the books where he's like wrapping up these plot points and I'm enjoying it, but it doesn't then lead to a 5-star because it's not like
Yeah, that's fair. It can
I
affect
don't
the
think
pace.
I've ever given it lower than a 4.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because I think that's the thing. Like you saying about the plot points, I think is valid because there are so many individual plot points in just those 3, and in just this one in particular, where he's threading up for the next trilogy, but also, you know, he has got decent resolutions in each of them. We'll get there. But I just think, I think
the
that's
reason I'm pulling the face
We just
is just
appreciate-
because I'm the only one who knows up to like the end of what's been published right now. Like even Becca doesn't know, and I'm just thinking like
I
there's
have seen
so
one
much.
spoiler. I have seen one spoiler for Seasons of War.
No.
Yeah, no.
Message me what the spoiler was. I want to know what you've been spoiled for.
Okay.
But don't spoil the others. Message.
I'm loving that Abby's all like, all buzzing, like all plot points. And I'm just sitting there like, what?
Things happened. I read a book. Who am I?
What setups? To be fair,
I'll give
though,
some
right?
examples once we're in the spoiler section of what has happened and is progressing and we're waiting on.
Here to recall what I read. No, I think one problem that I got though, right, is Becca and I just started our buddy read of Good Omens, and by that I mean I've read like 30 pages. This is
Bless you.
and it has such a similar vibe to me. Like
It
Good
does.
Omens is adult skullduggery in a sense. So like my brain is just like mixing
I
them
really
all.
want to read it. I really
Get on
wanted
with
to
it.
read Good Omens anyway, but
Do it.
damn, I need that.
So
Wait.
get started, because I'm only on page 30. Becca's probably finished it 3 times by now. So you've got time.
Join in. Get the
Literally,
join
Becca's
in.
me today. I want to start reading it. Like, oh, I'm in such a sci-fi mood, but my TBR's full, and I was like, listen, we're good. We're good. On you go.
Have you set a TBR for May?
Nope.
No, I didn't think you had.
Real life.
That's fair. I only asked because I'm meant to be tracking whether Emma actually hits their TBR or not. And I was like, I'm not even going to push because, yeah, have a month off. Why not?
To be
Have a
fair,
year off.
yeah.
I was going to say, isn't
You
that kind
can.
of cheating to not make one?
Listen, I've rescued 4 rats, and I've spent all day today hunting for a missing pensioner. I am allowed.
Go for it.
That is
Whether
true.
that happened or not.
So Ali DNF.
DNF.
Ali DNF, Good Omens?
Get
Just thought
out.
I'd let you guys know.
Out.
But
How can you
right.
tell?
Ali, do you like Neil Gaiman's writing though? Is what I want to know, because I've read 2 of his books and it's not been like, oh my god, it's my favorite writing style, but I've enjoyed the books. So, do you dislike his writing?
See,
Or
I
is it just
didn't like Stardust by Neil Gaiman, but like reading, I've never, when reading like co-written books, been able to go, oh yeah, that's definitely this person. Like even when was it Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, and like Dash is written by David Levithan and Lily's Rachel Cohn. And even though like I knew that they wrote those characters, I still couldn't really tell the difference. So I'm always like, what?
Neil
Hated Star-
Gaiman's
yeah.
got,
Oh, go on, Becca.
I was saying Neil Gaiman's got such a different style for each of his books. Like I DNF Stardust, and then there's a couple of others like Norse mythology that I absolutely hated. But then I get to like American Gods, and I'm completely obsessed. So it's
Am I the only one who liked Stardust out of the 5 of us? Because Ali didn't
Yeah,
like
I
it
like
either.
the film. I
the
really
film's
struggled
good.
with the book.
I
really
watched the
struggled with
film,
the book.
didn't know it was a book, watched the film with some friends when I was like 19, loved it, it's adorable, it's so much fun. Read the book, started it, DNF'd it. I was like, this is stupid, but it was so thin and I wasn't doing too much. It was like at the beginning of, like, between the beginning and the middle of my master's, so like in that area where you're not really doing a lot. So I was like, well, I've got the free time and it's short, it's like 150 pages, so why not just force myself to read it and then I at least know either way, and then I loved it. It helped that I had like the characters from the film on the page as well.
So see
had
did
to
I,
see
and that's why I didn't like it, because I just thought, sometimes I prefer the book adaptation to a film adaptation. In this one, I felt like the film adaptation just neatened up where the book got a bit lost in its own stuff. And that's not to say that I don't mind stuff in that context. So I've tried a couple of other Neil Gaiman since then, and I just don't really, I don't know what it is, because I love Terry Pratchett, and they've got a very similar writing style, and yet for some reason, Terry Pratchett hits the nail on the head for me, and Neil Gaiman doesn't. I just find that they're 2 very different types of whimsy, and I just prefer one to the other. And I'm also like that with C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. Their writing styles are very similar, but one I really enjoy, and one I'm like, well, I like the story and I like the concept, but I don't like your writing style. And I think that's, I'm not a fan of C.S. Lewis. It's all right.
I have this
I
word.
loved Narnia as a kid.
I think it's a cool idea, massively racist, but a cool idea.
I've not read them since I've grown up, so I'm scared, because when I say I love these, I mean I went to a C of E school and I'm now an atheist. But in that kind of transition period, I would have rather prayed to Aslan. Like 12-year-old me, you could have caught me praying to Aslan like quite easy, and I'm aware he's God, except fine. 12-year-old did not grasp. I'm scared to read them because they're going to be bad.
The first one's fine. The first one I found there.
What do you mean by the
It is
first one?
there,
You mean the
but
last
it's-
edition or the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Because he wrote that one first and then went back and did the prequel to
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So yeah, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe I think still holds up. But the further you go into the series, the more lost it gets, because I don't think he actually had a resolution for it. So I think that is a problem on itself. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this. Let's go back to Skullduggery Pleasant. Like I've got any control over this live stream at all. So I've got some points for discussion, but I figure we might as well just skip straight to the spoilery section so that we can talk about them in depth. So we're gonna swap banner to spoiler discussion. Because I want to know all of your thoughts. So the first thing I want to talk about is Skullduggery and Valkyrie being on the outs with the Sanctuary, because that was something that was carried over from the last book, and it also, to me, made it more interesting because we actually saw them doing genuine detective-y type things, as opposed to in the others where Valkyrie is just looking up at Skullduggery. Skullduggery goes, "Here's the answer," because I've got all these resources to help me. Like he actually has to investigate. So what did you guys think of that?
I really enjoyed that because it sort of gave them this sort of not edge to it, but it just made you remember that he is actually a detective, and they don't just save the world all the time. They actually solve murders usually.
Yeah, they also detect.
Yeah.
After the high of the end of the second book, then kind of going back into kind of similar. It's kind of a similar style to the first book where you're learning about the world, because a detective story, you're learning about the case. So it kind of brings you back into that learning perspective to build you up again, but you're already in the world because you know, obviously, everything already. So that's really a lot of fun, I think, it being able to kind of like discover again while still having the background knowledge of the world.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it does a really good job of resetting it, because I think some authors can, once you've gone bigger in your sequel, there's the pressure to go even bigger than that. But you have to reset, because you have to set your audience's expectations to actually then have the rise again, I think.
That, I think, is what I was trying to say earlier. That, like, for me, it was like the second book was all like boom, 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 and this one's a bit more tame. And I was just a bit not prepared for that, which I appreciated it for what it does, for like, because obviously it's such a massive series. But I was also just ready for like more shit to happen.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
Watch me in like 10 live shows being like, too much shit happened. Can we go back to book 3, please?
To be fair, this is the thing. So
Yes.
With the, like, when you have it like a TV series, usually it's the season finale that is the most action-packed, drama-filled, because they want you to watch enough to then sell the next season on. Game of Thrones, we were talking about Game of Thrones before we went live, but just to bring it up again, Game of Thrones did a really clever thing where rather than making episode 11 the one with the massive dramatic reveal, they had it in episode 10. So then 11 kind of, it still has its own dramatic reveals, but it's setting up the story for the next season and wrapping up all the other stuff that's had all the drama. I quite like that this has got a similar feel to it, in that 2 had the big bad in like the most like traditional sense, and then this one there's the threat of something bigger, but it's a threat the whole way through. It's not really until, do you know what I mean? Like there's still capacity for more, but because it's tamer than the last ones, it just resets it a little bit, just enough that you're lured into a full sense of security before something super dramatic happens at the end.
I forgot that happened. I was thinking another thing happened, like another plot twist happened, and then I got to that bit and I was like, oh god, I forgot this.
Yeah. Like I said in the last one, I only read 1 and 2 last time. So was I prepared for that at the end? No.
I read this before. I read Dead or Alive. So Dead or Alive is in my head more than this one. So I was like, which big plot point is it? I can't remember exactly what it is. And I just saw it and I was like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I messaged back
I
forgot this happened.
Completely forgot.
Do we need to discuss that? Should we discuss that plot point now, or should we save that to discuss at the end? Because I feel like it's a big deal.
It's an
I
elephant in
feel
the
like
room.
my audiobook skips a couple chapters at the end because I'm like, his head? What about his head?
Right, let's discuss it now then. So, spoiler alert, just when you think everything's been saved, the wormhole is closing, the monsters are receding, out comes a little tentacle thing, grabs Skullduggery, and drags him into the demonic realm as well. So at the end, there is no Skullduggery is gone. And then a necromancer rocks up and goes, but not all of him. And you're like, oh yeah, he lost his head that one time.
I love that Derek Landy did that. So he just puts that in as a tiny off thing in like book 1 or 2, and then it's like, oh wait, that is actually coming back. I love the little breadcrumbs he leaves.
It's the perfect
He's very
setup.
good at that. It's similar to what we mentioned in the last one, where with what he does with characters, where he'll bring in a character and they'll have no sort of overarching use. They're just like a little side character. And then he'll bring them back again later. It's the same with these little plot points where he'll sprinkle in little things that seemingly don't matter and then makes them matter.
Yeah. It's like Vote Saxon in Doctor Who, where you just had all of the posters behind you and then all of a sudden it comes out at the end. It was that sort of very similar thing where you don't even notice it until you go on the reread and then you go, oh, these things.
Yeah. I love a book you can reread because then you see more clues. I think that's so clever. And I think whilst it's the norm for like adult thrillers and adventure stories, I feel like sometimes, and not the case for all, I know this is a sweeping generalization, but I think with some middle grades, it's kind of abandoned because are kids going to notice it in a second or third reading anyway? Like a lot of times, some writers will treat kids like idiots and hand it to them. Whereas Derek Landy does not treat kids like idiots, which is great because it means as a 29-year-old, I can still really enjoy this, whatever read it is. Because, yeah, I think you're right. With the callback to book 1, where he's like, oh, yeah, I lost it or whatever. And it's so casual. It's just really, it's just really, really clever, I think.
And he does it in a way that if you don't pick up on those plot points, either it doesn't matter or it's made, or if it does need to matter, it's made so obvious. So like with this one with the head, it'll remind you. It's like it's not something small, and if it is an in-joke and if it doesn't matter, cool, whatever, you've missed it and it doesn't ruin the story. Whereas with this, it's like you're not going to forget the fact that he mentioned, because one, it's stupid anyway. Oh, I had my head nicked when I was meditating. So you might not remember that in the moment, but you can remember that when someone mentions that it's not his head.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's things like that that are just very, very clever. Because like you sit there rather than being like, you're like, oh, it's that response which we love. So yeah. So have you remembered that bit, Emma? Are you familiar with that bit?
I remember him losing his head, but I don't remember them pointing out he lost his head.
It was 2 months ago. You slept since then.
Yeah.
At least once.
At least
once. Non-stop.
Okay. So, whilst we're on the subject of Skullduggery, there has been an increasing theme of don't trust Skullduggery. But it's now getting to the point where they're literally saying it to her face as opposed to just inferring it that maybe he's done some bad shit. They're flat out telling her, Valkyrie, not to trust him. Thoughts?
I can't.
I mean,
no.
It's taking them 3 books to tell her. Like, also, this is a child. They should have been doing a little bit more to protect her if he is a threat. Sorry, I have rats just causing chaos. So yeah, there's something. I don't know what yet.
Okay.
It's a good point that they're not exactly. If you remember as well, like if you're reading this at the target age, you don't notice it, and then even us reading it, you're kind of in Val's head, so you don't think of it. But she's not just a child in the way that like we would like if the 4 of were, if Ali's still watching, which she shouldn't be because she's getting spoiled. But if the 5 of were in a pub somewhere, and we saw a bunch of 17-year-olds walking past being childish, and we'd be like, look at those 12-year-olds. No, she's an actual 12, 13, 14-year-old. Like she's an actual child.
Yeah.
And she's almost died how many times? And it's hard to remember that. But it's not as though Landy doesn't make that a point. Like, he at least very clearly is like, this is wrong. I'm still going to write it, but not
Yeah.
that way.
And it's more than just like stranger danger as well. It's like, no, like he is going to cost you more than you're willing to give up. And I think that is really brought home when Valkyrie loses her tooth.
Yeah.
Because it's such a superficial thing, but it's kind of like, you know, when you like step into the road and a car just goes in front of you and it's not close enough that it would have hit you, it's just close enough that you catch a breeze and you have that moment of like, shit, I nearly got hit by a car, and you didn't. But it's close enough that something awful could have happened. I feel like she's having that jarring moment.
Yeah,
when she
and it
loses her
feels
tooth.
kind of out of character for her to be like that worked up over it. I was like, you know, girl, like, you also know that it's gonna get fixed, like, can it? But then it was that sort of moment where I was like, oh, it was like, this child is having a realization.
Because, like, kids will see bruises or even broken bones and see them heal. Like, it's common. I've never broken a bone, but, like, you'll see kids all the time with casts and stuff in the playground. They're all signing them. Kids will get bruises. So even if they are worse than, like, usual or, like, on her face or stuff like that, it's stuff that she's seen healed before. But usually, when you get an adult tooth knocked out, it's not specified if it's a baby tooth or an adult tooth, but at her age, it could have been either. So it could easily be an adult tooth.
Be an adult
Get that knocked out. No one gets that back.
And I think it's also the first time she's been hurt in a place that she can see in that sense. Because it's on
You
her
can
face.
feel
And
it every breath you take. You
Yeah.
can feel the change.
yeah.
As someone who's had their two front teeth knocked out before, it's such a jarring experience because your whole mouth becomes really sensitive. Like, not that you would need that context to read it, but it's just the fact that, yeah, she's having this real kind of, oh, I'm mortal moment. And I think, you know, a lot of kids see themselves as invincible because you learn fear, and I think this is a moment where she learns to be scared.
And I think as well because she's surrounded by so many adults who are literally ancient because they're like hundreds of years old. She's sort of seeing them as immortal as well in that sense. So she's just going, well, I'm part of this world now. I'm also immortal. And then obviously this moment where she's had her tooth knocked out, she's suddenly hit with, wait a minute, no, I can still be
What
hurt.
caused the tooth?
Sanguine punches her in the face. Not sanguine. Is it sanguine? Yeah, it's sanguine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
like
sanguine.
punches her in the face. And just dislodges a tooth. Like it's such a nothing. Like it's in like one of the early fights in like the first 10 chapters. But she just takes, and it's like it's really sweet because Ken Speckle's just like, it's all right. Like he's just really like, and he dotes on her anyway. But he's just like
such a 180 though. At the end when he's like, no, we're not doing this here. Like, I'll patch you up. And I was like, oh, it's like, you tell him. Like,
yeah.
Dude's got claws when he wants to.
Yeah, the thing is, he's so supportive of Valkyrie, but he hates skullduggery, and I think that's a really interesting juxtaposition.
But he's also still quite respectful to him to a point. Like if it's something that he knows he can like get away with, Ken Speckle will happily insult skullduggery to hell and back. But the second it's something that's actually serious, and like he knows it, he's like. A lot of the other like adults in this world will still like very much to speak about the series that's not been named. The Minister for Magic won't believe what's in front of his eyes, despite the fact everyone's telling him. And some of the adults in the series will do that. But Ken Speckle's like, well, shit, he's right. Fine, come on.
Yeah, it's like he wouldn't be going this hard on it if it weren't true.
Yeah. So at least he believes him, but at the same time, he's like, I still don't like you. You're still a knob, but you're a factual knob, so in you come.
A factual knob, yeah. You can be right and still be an arsehole. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's basically how I live my life.
Same. Emma's probably getting snug now. You're just going to fall asleep on this live stream, aren't you?
No, I'm going to have a bath once we're done. Oh, okay. I've lost my plug, though. But yeah, I've been walking all day. My legs are like no pressure. So.
That's fair. Okay, whilst we're on the subject of Valkyrie, let's discuss that Valkyrie had her first kiss, except she didn't.
I love her. She's like, but we don't like him. And then she's like raging that she missed it. Like, why do you do that? We don't like him. Yes, you do. No. Like arguing
It's
with
interesting
herself.
because the reflection likes him, obviously, enough to kiss him. So like, how much has the reflection been keeping back from
But
Valkyrie?
also, the blackout, like, there's definitely something coming. Like, I know they kind of hinted at it before, like, oh, the reflection knows stuff. Abby's just gonna leave for a minute while I definitely
Me and
mention
Becca
things.
can see each other, giving each other eyes.
It's obvious at this point that there's shit going down with this reflection and her blackouts. And Valkyrie's like, oh, it's just a couple memory loss. It's fine. And like,
Memory
no,
loss is
your-
never fine.
your
It's never fine. When has memory loss ever been a good
Lying at
plot
you.
point?
Like, your
I
reflection.
will say,
I
like,
don't think this is memory loss. I think your reflection's like, we can't have her knowing what I'm thinking when I'm sighing at her. So yeah, shit's gonna go down there.
I've never understood why they didn't just remake one.
I think you can only make one, can't you?
No,
And then that's it.
just clean the mirror, do it again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's there. There is.
I've
I've
already
seen-
learned so much about her, and it was so realistic. So they didn't want to like go back to her being
the
like,
thing is,
oh,
I think that Valkyrie hasn't said anything to Skullduggery about it.
oh, she
Either
definitely
because she
hasn't.
doesn't see the fear behind it,
Yeah,
or
no, she's
because
just like,
she's
oh, she's like,
embarrassed
yeah,
or whatever.
this thing was shot and killed, so it's just a little bit fuzzy. That's all.
Yeah,
I mean, to be
no,
fair,
you're letting it live your life.
14-year-old
It's the point that like her aunt gets on better with her reflection than she does with Valkyrie.
because Valkyrie can't be asked, but it's
Yeah.
the reflection's job. Like
Yeah.
the reflection's entire point of being is put up with regular non-magical people, and Valkyrie can't be asked to do that. So of course that's going to happen. Bless Beryl.
Bless
Yeah.
Beryl.
That's not bless her, no.
Beryl deserves no blessings from us.
Unless it's blessing with hellfire.
Yeah.
Just burn her.
Burn the witch. Yeah, Beryl is horrible. She's the absolute worst.
I think Fergus is worse.
We didn't see much of Fergus in this book, though, so I could say Beryl's the worst, because really we only saw Beryl and the twins being poo. Fergus wasn't really in it.
They're as bad as each other.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
if
Overall,
Fergus is going to
Fergus
be,
is
if he's anything like a typical dad and husband, he's just going along with it. He's like, easy life, just do what they want.
He's not paying any attention. He's just like,
So, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, interesting,
can't see
interesting. So, yeah. I was surprised, because I know, like, as a spoiler, that... Because obviously this is the thing. So, Dead or Alive mentions Fletcher in the synopsis. I think. I'm pretty sure it does.
I
Fletcher's
haven't
surfer
read this
dude, isn't he?
Or something I read recently had Fletcher in the synopsis.
I
he's not
haven't
in
read
the
it.
synopsis of Dead or Alive.
Are you thinking about
Is
the
it
next
on-
book?
No, I could have sworn
I mean,
it's...
I'm not going to lie to you. Man's in Dead or Alive, but he's not on the synopsis.
It might be
He's not on
in
the hardcover,
on the
though.
Goodreads. I could have sworn
Maybe
he was
Goodreads
mentioned.
synopses tend to be longer.
Let's have a look if it's on the Goodreads. The reason I said that is because I saw a thing about them being together, like boyfriend and girlfriend, or like her ex-boyfriend or something like that.
Is it
So I was
like-
like, ooh, after like the kiss that didn't happen, I was like, maybe she'll kiss Fletcher. And then that didn't. And I was like, it'll happen, just not in this book. Let's have a look.
I think he does.
I do not like Fletcher as a character in this book.
Nah, he's a knob.
Yeah, he grows on me, but in this one, I'm just like, can you just teleport off the planet, please? Just go away. I
I
really
don't
don't
see
like
him
him.
in Goodreads.
He's written well, though, in that he is the stereotypical teenage boy who's just found out he can teleport wherever he wants. Like, compared to Landy, what teenage boy, what, like, Irish teenage boy, remembering that they're very similar to, like, British teenage boys, is gonna not be a knob about that.
Yeah. Can't think of a
Like-
single one it would be.
Like,
Okay, it doesn't say it, so I've no
exactly
idea where I got it from. It doesn't sound like a
Maybe
good read, but
someone like spoiling it.
maybe
Maybe you got like an actual spoiler.
unintentional, but yeah, definitely saw something that said about them being together. So was surprised when they didn't smooch. To be honest, that was a plot twist for me. I thought that was definitely
Although
going to happen.
they did hold hands on Ghastly's roof.
And they laughed together. That's important. That is important. I mean, don't ignore the fact that he was flirting with Tanith Lowe the entire way through this book. They had a little chuckle together. Super cute.
Like he had a shot with her. She
I
would
know.
have rather stabbed him.
Ghastly.
I know he's back. I'm so happy.
I know.
I
What a
tried so
relief.
hard to pick that
How
back
did
from
that-
you
how did that happen?
that
Because,
you turned into stone.
I was literally just like vibing, listening, and suddenly it was like Ghastly, and I was like in a really rough voice because obviously he's been stoned for however long. But I have no idea how they got him back.
So all it is essentially earth magic. So I don't know if you remember, but they've got earth, fire, water, wind, and earth. The only thing it can do is turn you into stone, and it just wears off whenever. So it could have taken him 100 years, and then it would have worn off.
Right.
It could have taken
So,
minutes.
so did he just rock up someplace?
He was still, I think he kind of like superhero landing stoned, and then the stone effect.
Are we ignoring the pun? Is that what's happening here? Are we ignoring the and he just rocked up somewhere?
I thought so
Yes.
hard about that. I really didn't. I missed it too.
I was sat here like, I'm going to wait and I'm going to mention that you're punning. I enjoyed that. But yes, I also enjoyed that he came back. And I like the fact that the clothes, again, are showing time moving because she's outgrown everything. Everything is uncomfortable. And then he rocks up and makes her some new stuff. And he's like, what about a red lining? And she's just like, thanks.
Oh, the circus music makes sense now.
Does
Black
it?
jacket, red lining, very circus ringmaster.
Usually it's the other way around, though, surely. Surely it's the other way around, where it's a red jacket with black lining.
Sorry, I'm thinking
red lining.
Egyptian. Same difference.
Fair enough.
If anyone's the circus ringleader, it's China. Who is it?
Yeah, for sure.
She's
No, she's the one behind the scenes. You think she's going to stand in that tent?
well, no, but she's also kind of like the mother with the reins on all the kids, going no back.
She's not the mum. She's not the mum.
No,
At most, she's the fun aunt.
No.
The fun aunt that doesn't want you wrecked their shit.
The very strict grandmother.
Oh no, she hasn't got grandma vibes. No,
No, but she's
definitely.
got, the vibes of like, I am in control. You do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck what I say. I control all of you, and I look after all of you.
or is she the babysitter who's
You know
been
what I mean?
forced into it? Is she the older sister who's been forced into it? And it's like, I'm only doing this for money.
Yeah.
Is she
Yeah.
the older sister,
Sure.
or is Bliss older?
Oh god, you just ruined it.
It's just what you described to me.
Abby is reacting to it, or if Abby hasn't. No, Abby's seen it.
Abby's seen it. Abby's seen it. I think Mr. Bliss is older. He has older brother vibes for me. I don't know about you guys.
No, I think Mr.
Right,
Ross is
you know what? After that, I'm joining Emma.
Getting snuggly. Look, I made an effort and actually sat in the library so that I wouldn't be overly
I just
snuggly.
laughed so hard I gave myself a headache.
You did
You're
this to
welcome.
yourself.
You're welcome. Speaking of Bliss, how do we feel about that
Oh,
little...
me and Becca forgot. So, right, me and Becca will message. I can't sit like this and actually speak like a normal human.
I was like, no, this is too serious.
So me and Becca will message separate to you guys, because for us as well, like, I know that if I'm on page 100 and Becca's on page 5, I can spoil something if I want to, if I think it's like important enough because she's read it. So we message each other about the book, and both of us, I think this is one where I didn't message you until I knew you'd read it, because I was like, he what? He went out.
because you speed read it and I didn't get to it until the next day.
We were like, we're gonna buddy read it together, and then I read it all in that day, in about 2
I
hours.
took 2. And I was like, whoops, we failed.
I'm so sorry, but I've finished it.
Emma, are you lost? Mr. Bliss, unfortunately, passes away.
Well, he gets crunched.
Yeah, he gets squished, like, big time.
We like Bliss, don't we? Because he was trying to get them back in the sanctuary.
He was the
actually,
morally grey good guy.
I've just had a thought though. What was with the waxwork? And they're being like, "Can you sing?" Like that was just the most random.
Just a fun little detour.
Well, yeah, but like if you saw what's his name again from Wham?
I don't know any of the names of Wham.
Do you know George Michael?
That
Yeah.
one.
The one that's
I do
dead.
know George Michael. I stand corrected.
There we go. If you saw a wax figure of George Michael just stood there as the entrance god, and he was just speaking, would you not be like, "Yo, what? Can you sing?" Like, why would you not ask a known singer waxwork? Like,
can you just like sing a bit of Faith for me?
I don't think I would
sing.
like...
She's saying like, were you programmed in with the ability to do so because you're a singer?
No, see, I don't think I'd be that tactful. I think I'd
to
start humming a thing and then see if they join in. So, like, say for example, it was George Michael from Wham. I'd be sat there and go, do, 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 and like see if he then like picks up the and then like Last Christmas. No, nothing.
Did you do that? I would just turn and go, "A jitterbug." And
yeah.
I like
More
how we've got
aggressive.
3 different types of song there. You've got Jitterbug, Hands on Christmas. I'm like, gotta have faith, faith, faith.
I was thinking about Deadpool. Because obviously he does the Wham thing in Deadpool.
Love that.
Well, the 4
I
elements.
think at 14, I probably would have been more like, "Oh, so like, are you the same?" I would have been at 14, even though I was confident. It's like that kind of like nervous confidence. I wouldn't have. Whereas like 24-year-old Abby is walking in and going, "Can you sing? Can
Look,
you
I
yes,
can't sing. Let's try and sing together.
I want to jam with Wham. Sing."
Wow.
You created the new reality.
And on that note, we'll end the live stream there. It's been nice seeing you guys. I'm out.
Jam with Wham is absolutely the reality TV show for when Wham does a reunion tour and they need an opening act.
I was thinking more of you know, the Alan Carr like game show series he's doing right now. But then making like a new one. So instead of doing the retro ones, being like, "Okay, we've got a new one, Jam with Wham." Would it be jam as in jamming as in like music, or would it be like preserves?
Well, see, my
Both.
first thought was music, but then I went to.
Both.
I've just had a jammy Dodger cake, so my brain then did go to preserves.
I'm just going to put on the Twitter quote of the day. Let jam
We should
with...
totally name this like group chat jam with Wham.
There we go. In fact, I'm
just
going
that
to change.
iconic.
Just gonna.
The best part though is, Abby could be a part. Wham could be like an acronym. So like, you're the A. The M can be Ladette M.
Yeah.
We need
Beth
the
and I are just not there.
Who's the huh?
That's what I'm saying. Oh wait, Hannah is the H and the M. No, I'll be the M. And Becca needs to become W somehow. The K's, if you turn the K's sideways, it's almost.
Obsessed with the winter
It
soldier.
amazes me. It amazes me how far you will bend backwards to make complete nonsense make sense. You know?
It's a pro skill of mine. I put it on my CV.
You should. You need it on your LinkedIn.
Just sounds creative with problems.
Yeah, I literally do though. I'm like, oh yeah, like I think outside the box, people. The box,
There's that corporate jargon.
You're not even in the same room as the box, just outside of the box.
Yeah, I ain't even in the same universe as this box. So you're gonna get a creative idea. Not gonna tell it, not saying it's gonna work, but I will give you a solution.
Okay, back to skullduggery. Remus Crux. Let's talk about that.
I
asshole
love
for a
him,
bit.
but I hate him.
No, I love to hate him. I've literally put
Yeah.
Remus Crux, the investigator we love to hate.
Yeah. Like, the whole bit where he's chasing Valkyrie, and then she finds there's, like, the friend in the tractor or whatever. And then Crux is just like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill you, basically. Like, I'm just gonna beat you up. Like, I don't care. And I'm like, how are you getting away with this? Like, if Skulldugger even dared to do something like that, the Sanctuary would have had his
Like, he's
not
breaking
egg.
Sanctuary rules.
Yeah.
But also, that, like, split second that we get of Tractor Man, who knows Val's family, I'm like, yes, Tractor Man.
Mhm.
Like,
The way
straight
he's like,
away.
stay away from her. I was like, yes, sir.
Yeah, he
Yes,
was sweet.
like,
That felt so
when was this
Irish as
written
well.
as well?
You know what I mean?
This was written 2009, so that could have easily been like, why are you running away? He clearly just wants to talk. Like, you need to speak to your elders. That's like a common theme, even now. And no, it was just like,
Also,
man running after you.
Yes.
Kapow.
a 13-year-old. What even was he trying to arrest her for? Like,
Truancy?
Shoplifting.
He could have made up a whole bunch of things, but the fact is, the guy was like, "Nah, I don't trust it." So that just don't trust it.
Just sing your name.
You just see my name.
Yes.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, no, I thought he was great. And because, like, thing is, yeah, so I would have been in year 9 when that came out. And I'm thinking, like, if I had been chased by someone claiming to be a policeman, I don't know. I think you're right. But it feels so inherently Irish to be like, she went from her home to just a big field and just bumped into a farmer. That just feels very Irish to me. Huh?
I'm sure you would have been in year 9.
No, I'd have been older than that.
Because I was going to say 2009. I think that I was in year 9.
I think,
Yeah,
I'm
you're a
older than
baby.
10 or 11 then, and you're older than me.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, guys.
But
I
I live in rural.
didn't do
rural
maths,
England.
okay? Maths was not my strong suit. What I'm saying is, I was a child. No one would have believed me, is what I'm saying.
I live in rural England, and I definitely went to school. We've discussed, my background is confusing, but if we just stick with like my secondary school, that was in like a kind of village town situation, like a large one, but still. And so, like, as in, like, right now, give me 10 minutes and data, because you're on my laptop, and I could take us into the middle of the field in, like, 10 minutes. So, especially if it's one of these smaller towns, that's, like, to me, that's not far-fetched at all. Like,
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's just, like, you would walk in, and of course you'd know, because you've lived there all your life.
Yeah.
So if you see a random person running after someone you actually know, you'd be like, no, that guy's an outsider.
Yeah.
That's the thing, it's like,
you're
just
running
around like empty fields is the most normal thing in the world. So you'd just be like, no, there's something dodgy about that.
Mm.
Also, like, Val's not known for exercise at this point.
No.
Like, so he's like, why the hell is she running?
Through the field.
Yeah, in not running gear. Like, he makes the point of being like, you're wearing like... Yeah. Speaking of farmers, should we discuss the other farmer and the great plot twist of the end?
I completely forgot about that reading it this time as well. I was like, wait a minute, it was him.
I haven't read any of this book.
Apparently not. I'm like, I actually check the audio was the third one, because I did get the next 3.
Did the faceless one appear? Did you get the big faceless ones?
I know that we're
That's
trying
a
to
yes
get
or no.
them back.
Did the faceless ones come through the portal? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Okay, right. So
I know there was
that's
a portal.
So what I'm learning is Emma didn't finish the book.
No, I actually did. That's the worst part. I've already considered
feel like
rereading
you
it.
fell asleep at the end.
I think I did. Honestly, at this point, I think I did.
Which edition do you have?
The audiobook.
Oh, do you not have a physical book at all?
No.
Let me see. It's within chapter 36, which in my copy is like 358 pages. That I have a different copy to you guys. That is where they reveal Bantu.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah. 349 for me.
Who's
What did you say, Becca?
I love how all of you brought your book with you, and I've gone, nah, it's upstairs. I ain't going up there.
It was there, to be fair.
It's
Yeah.
directly above me.
I've also got the next one to be like,
I've been meaning to grab mine, so I'm gonna get it now.
Like, I am aware of the scepter and like Valkyrie putting in this black stone and then it not working and her being like, oh, everybody like, Valkyrie, you take it because ancients, and she takes it and then she's like, but how do I make it work? And then they're like, just think, and then she almost like killed a bookcase or something like that. Killed a bookcase. I'm gonna start this audiobook again before the next book.
yeah, that's fair.
So basically, Bantu for Emma, or for anyone who's watching and hasn't read it, is basically this kind of, he's described as old, but given the fact that it's from a 14-ish-year-old's perspective, he could be anywhere from in his 40s to in his 90s. We don't really know.
True, yeah.
Hey, the kids at school think I'm old, and they thought I was about 30. I'm usually mistaken for 18.
You do, to be fair, you do carry it. Like, you do look like, I'm joking. You genuinely looked hurt then. I'm kidding.
Did she look as hurt as that time you told me to like shut up or whatever, and like my face apparently dropped and you felt bad?
Yeah. Yeah, so once Emma was on a thing and just talking, and I basically told Emma to shut up, and Emma just kind of stared at me blankly, and I was like, I was kidding, sorry. And I was just like, what? And it just took a few moments for Emma to compute. That's all it was. She wasn't actually mad at me. And I was like, oh,
but it looked like it.
Horrible person. I'll see myself out.
So, old man, God knows how old, but at least 40 plus. And he's on this farm, and it turns out that is where like the faceless ones are trying to come through. And so they go to the farm thinking that the other side already knows this. And they think that the other side, the bad guys, already know where the portal is. So they use Fletcher to like feel it with his tingly fingers.
Spidey senses.
Right.
I don't like that phrase.
This is how my brain works. So welcome to the inside of my brain. No, you can't escape. If I have to be stuck here, you do too. And so then Fletcher does his little tingly fingers situation. He's like, I can feel it. And then that's actually how the bad guys, shut up. That's how the bad guys find where the portal is, because they didn't actually know before that. And Bantu is like the little old man who owns the farm. And he's like, they think that he's like just friendly, just like a nice old man.
He like starts shooting the bad guys. And they're like, oh, he is like fully on our side. And then he's like, haha, plot twist, I'm not. You know?
And then, actually, he's the one who's been murdering all the teleporters, because nobody thought that an average mortal could do anything.
Yeah.
Which was a fun plot line, to be like, just because they're not magic doesn't mean
they're not.
Yeah.
Especially because in everyone, they were like, there's no trace of magic here. How bizarre.
Yeah, reading that as a reread, I was like, how did you not realise?
Like I've said before, China owns the brain cell. No one else is allowed to even look at it.
Yeah, it's funny because it's true.
I feel like that's similar to us. I think Hannah has the brain cell. Becca borrows it that way. Becca borrows it most frequently. Sometimes I will forcefully steal it, and occasionally it dings into the corner for Emma.
Yeah. And then she has an idea.
Yeah, it like rattles around a bit and then escapes.
Yeah, no,
like the DVD thing in the corner.
You know when you watch that logo bounce up and down? Once it hits the corner, once a blue moon, that's when I have it.
Yeah.
I love that Abby and I were on the same page with that.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
You want that was my use of the brain cell for this evening. It was wasted on my brain cells.
Okay, so next on my list then, after Remus Crux, is Thurid Guild.
I don't like him.
I don't think you're supposed to, Emma.
That's good. Learn that from something.
He's just very...
How did he get
He needs to get in the sea. He needs to get in the sea.
He gives me Bojo vibes.
I was just going to say, gives me Boris Johnson vibes.
No.
He's not quite as stupid as Johnson, but that to be honest, from Boris Johnson, seems like a publicity stunt. So like he does have the intelligence, but he doesn't use it in any way that makes any fucking logical sense.
It's all
And
about
he comes
him.
to the wrong conclusion for everything.
It's all about him gaining more power.
Yeah.
And being a pompous twat, and he's not going to be happy till everyone's just bowing down to him and calling him the Lord of the Universe.
Yeah, which is never going to happen.
I am very left wing, so I'm biased against Boris Johnson. But my dad, who has voted Conservative in every single election, trust me, I've screamed at him about it. He's ex-army. It's very difficult to get them to go left. Even he thinks Johnson's a knob. So I'm like, if Conservative man over here thinks he's a knob,
he's a knob. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Thurgood is as Tory as it comes, isn't it? Really, like even down to like making them wait to just telling them to go screw themselves. I just think like every little action is just petty. And I'm just like I just don't have time for better people. And as a character, I just want him to get in the sea.
Do you think he actually feels powerless, and this is why he does it? So he feels like he's got power over other people.
Probably.
He's a classic bully. He's bullying to make himself feel better. So yes, but also get in the sea.
And also just because he has the power, and so whether he feels powerless or not, he could feel like the most empowered person in the sanctuary. But he's still the sort of person who's going to go, yeah, I'm the person with the most power here. I'm going to use it to make your life hell, just because he can. Because
he's a butthole, for sure.
It's like a French king just before the revolution sort of thing.
Which is very much how I start my hair as well. I like that. I like that as a casual little segue. But yeah, Thurgood, get in the sea. Social hierarchy. I made a note about how the necromancers are like, because we've had adepts and elementals as like rivals, but now we're getting into like the nitty gritty of how those factions then break down, with like the necromancers and the teleporters being quite self-contained / isolated from the general public.
I've always thought of the necromancers as separate to adepts.
They must be a kind of, though.
Like, I've always thought necromancy, adept, elemental, just because there's a lot of different things that you can do with the death and shadow magic.
So would
in the same way that there's lots
I guess
of things
like if you've done it to the Venn diagram like in the middle, but it's the fact that when they're having a conversation at the end, when Reith is talking to Valkyrie about it, and she's just like, oh no, I'm going to be an elemental, and he's like, but you could be this, like, don't write it off kind of thing. I just think it's really interesting, like, as a power, they're seen as like bottom of the food chain, when actually their power probably puts them at far more powerful than other forms of magic.
Yeah, I reckon they all just get pushed down because everyone thinks they're creepy.
Also because of the way they act.
Yeah.
Like, so that you learn a little bit about this in this book, but it develops as the books go on. You learn more about them. And in this book, you can, well, at least I can, knowing the future, but it comes across clearly enough that they feel like they're better than everyone. That just amps as the series goes on, like, and it's made like explicitly clear that they're like, and that's why people don't like them.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, like, as much as they do that, it's really interesting just the way they're treated by other people before you see that. And I think it's very, very easy for characters to kind of be like, well, I must be better than you because you're just jealous of me. That's why you're being horrible to me. And then you end up creating for both sides. They're not justified in being pretentious about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, they're using those powers. I think it'd be very easy for them to just not be part of the fight. But obviously getting involved, I don't know. Maybe I just like a bad guy. That's what it is. I'm like, oh, there's something morally grey about this. Love it.
Yeah, I'm the same. Do they have a long black coat? Are they morally great? Yes, I'm having that one. That one's my favourite.
It's basically Chris Eccleston. Love that for me.
Yeah.
He's my favourite doctor.
That's
yeah.
10.
What about the teleporters? What did you think of them?
I mean, there's only one left now.
The two that were present. The one that made it.
The one that didn't make it was cocky.
Mm.
Like Tanith said, she said, "Why are we somewhere where people know that this is where you live? Like, I don't like this." And he's like, "I just need to sleep. I want to sleep here." She's like, "Right, fine. I don't like it. I've told you I don't like it." What happens? Man's murdered. Man's out.
Dead. Man's dead.
Man's dead. You remember this, Emma?
Did you just blank for a minute then?
Honestly, you started with necromancy, and I was like,
No, we're on to the teleporters now.
yeah, I was aware, and then I just was like, I remembered the guy showing up in the car, or out at the car. No recollection of him showing up any other time. I blacked out this entire book.
Guy showing up at the car?
The teleporter showed up at the car outside the sanctuary. Oh, see, look at me remembering things. You know, the irrelevant stuff.
Cars are a big point in this series. Have you not noticed?
You know, that went really well. That went really well. Have you not noticed? I can't even do Welsh. I want to try it.
I've only been to Wales once. I'm now concerned. Someone said that. Someone once before said that I sounded Welsh.
That was me last time.
What? Where's this come? I've been to Wales once. No, sorry, twice.
Oh.
You sound Welsh.
Sometimes Jordy.
No wonder Chris likes me. That's where he was born. He's never been, but that's where he was born.
Not Welsh.
I'm annoyed now. Out of all the accents I could have, Welsh.
Welsh is like my favourite.
I love the Welsh accent.
Yes, it's delightful. I love it. But I don't know any fucking Welsh, and I've been there twice. I went to Bangor one day, and I spent a week in Conwy.
That did do a little Welsh at the end there as well, to be honest.
I said Conwy, okay? Give me a break.
I mean, I've never been to Wales, and I can pronounce that long-ass fucking town name, so...
I can't.
No.
I honestly spent 45 minutes, or even longer, voice chatting with Keris, who's Welsh, as she tried to teach me it.
No, thank you. Can't be asked.
The last thing I've got on my list is the sea hag, because I want to discuss the sea hag. And then if there's anything else you guys want to mention or questions you want to ask, whatever, we'll do that after. But the sea hag, as a plot twist, really enjoyed that. She was legit scary. I found her genuinely very scary. I remember that as well.
Well, I remember the first time, the only time? The time when they went to ask about the guy from 50 years ago, and Valkyrie misses the bell, and then I vaguely recall her showing up again, but I don't fucking know what happened.
You know when they swap Guild for Fletcher on the bridge?
No.
They have a whole soliloquy about this bridge with 3 names. Like it's got a proper name, and it's called the Hartney Bridge. And then they swap people on it with their bubbles and the magic.
Yeah, I think I got a bit lost there.
And it's a river, so then sea hag, woohoo.
Oh. No.
Did you get confused with the baby swapping Good Omens?
Yeah. I understand roughly, and I was like, I really did.
Why am I not well?
How did you not notice that? The moment I did it, Becca clocked it and was just like, yeah.
With Omens, like, I'm aware that Mr. Young,
Becca, it will come.
There's Mr. Young and there's the American. And I get that the American is supposed to have the Antichrist, but they fucked up and gave it to Mr. Young.
Yeah. Good Omens, Abby.
Oh. I was like, what?
But I was a little bit like...
We've not read it.
Yeah,
really?
It's very early in the book. But yeah, I was just like, who's going where? What's going on? Who's... And then the whole like, oh, I gave eye contact meaning this, and she thought that it was this, and then I thought her response, and I was just like...
It's better when you can physically see it in the TV show.
Yeah.
This is a really good book. I really enjoyed it. So
In terms of like separate from the Sea Hag, I liked the swap thing. Like the entire scenario, which Emma has no clue about.
yeah, that was a great scene of action and intrigue. I enjoyed that
But
too.
genuinely, it was like, it's one of my favorite bits out of this book, of like just absolute shit showery.
Do you know what I love? Is they even let you know that it's going to be a shit show, because they're like, oh, how does someone win something like this? And they're like, oh, we've just got to have more things to pull out of the bag than they do. Like,
How many? Two.
Yeah. I just think that's like, as a setup, I think that's really funny.
Because you know that it's just going to go wrong.
Yeah, like you don't go into it thinking it's going to work, so it's not supposed to be like, oh god, are they going to be okay? Like you're there, like, how is it going to fuck up? How are they going to fix it?
Yeah,
and it gives it like a much more fun vibe.
It's almost like Derek Landy, like, challenged himself and went, how badly can I make this go for them?
How many plot twists can I fit into this one scene?
Like, how far up the metaphorical tree of, like, writing, and how many rocks can I throw at them while I'm at it?
Yeah, I'd have said up shit creek, but up a tree works too.
I have that somewhere, like, writing is just chucking a character up a tree and then throwing rocks at them while they're trying to get down.
Oh, I thought writing was throwing your characters out of a plane and not giving them a parachute.
That also works.
That's genuinely what my lecturer said. He was like, if you want to know how to write a book, throw your characters out of a plane and then explain to me how they got there before their parachute explodes. And if you don't want to give them a parachute, don't. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Wish my lectures had been that fun.
I have a question about the Sea Hag. I'm very close to the camera. On the back of this edition, which Becca may have seen, I'm not sure, I think you have.
I used to own those covers.
But for you two, we at least know you both remember the Sea Hag's existence. What do you think? So that's what you have in your head for what she looks like?
Yeah.
Ooh, is that the same edition you've got?
Yeah.
So the original edition, she looks like this.
That's not too far off.
Which is pretty similar.
That.
But I like mine a little bit more because it seems a bit, yours seems a bit more like
This one seems very masculine.
Yeah, whereas this is very much a woman. That's like a weird masculine creature, whereas this, it's specified that she's a woman and she thinks that she's beautiful. And you can see with this drawing, like someone who, if they weren't, underwater for a solid century or so, could be beautiful. Like, it's just the fact that she's a bit moldy.
Yeah. I mean, what I really enjoy, we talk about front covers, is Fletcher's hair.
Yeah.
Jedward.
When I first read this, it was Jedward season.
Yeah.
So I had full on just Jedward in my head the entire time.
Jedward in my head.
Is that better?
Chat with Wham and Jedward in my head.
No, that's yours because you said it.
Yeah, I also said jam with Wham, and yet somehow that's your name.
No, I enjoyed it.
You stole
It just looks like
from
I'm
me.
bullying Becca because I'm not giving Becca a weird name now.
Yeah.
I haven't said anything iconic yet. Give me time.
And there it is.
Is it Dusk, the vampire?
Yeah.
There's artwork of him on the back of this.
Ooh.
So that must be the scar.
Why?
I always imagined it more like. Wait, I can't do the back, but I always imagined it more like.
Why am I now imagining a live action series of Skullduggery and he is played by Andrew Scott?
Oh my god, I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Tell me that is not Andrew Scott.
Yeah. I'm such
I would rather him play either Sanguine or Vile, to be honest.
Yes.
Val's jacket has flowers on it.
What?
I can't show it. It's not high def enough. I'll have to send a picture to the group chat. But Val's jacket has a floral design. This is book
It
4.
decides to get girlier as she grows up.
Well, because book 3, her jacket's going to be the one before Ghastly fixes it. But Ghastly has now got her a new one.
Is it
And
red
the
or what?
jacket, it's floral.
She would
Like-
not have florals.
My girl, it's floral. It's like paisley.
God, no.
Is
I'm
it
sorry, I've
paisley
got
on yours,
thoughts on this
Hannah?
now.
Not mine. But what I do like is I'm looking at the different renditions of Valkyrie. So we've got preteen Valkyrie, and then we've got teen angsty Valkyrie. You know?
She's aged like 10 years in one book.
No, she hasn't. Like I would say that's like 13 to 15.
He had
you know?
there.
Those are my 2 editions. It doesn't look very different.
For the later covers, they actually used Anya Taylor-Joy as the face match for it, apparently.
Well, here she is in the latest one, where she is about Hannah's age.
What, 29?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. No, I just thought I would clarify for anyone still watching that I'm 29 years old. I know I look like a babe with this glowing skin, but I'm actually super old. You know? No? All right, just me. Anything else? Anything else we want to discuss before we hypothesize about Dark Days?
Well,
Did
that's where me and Beth
anyone
can't do
notice-
anything.
Did anyone notice any sort of pop culture references in this one? I know I bring this up every single time, but I noticed none in this
I
one.
didn't
and I'm
notice any
disappointed.
this time.
No,
No.
we started actively looking for them
Like,
and couldn't really find any.
I actively look in all of these, and I know I said in the previous live show that there was a big one in this one, but it turns out that's book 4, not this one. So I'm an idiot. And I got book 3 and 4 completely mixed. So that
Even
was
though
on
they
me.
have the numbers on the spine.
Yeah, I know, but it's been a long time. Well, it's been a year since
Not
I
on
saw
my
it.
editions.
We can't
Yes.
see the like,
That's it. You see the flower on her jacket. Why am I touching the screen as if you can see?
that's why.
That's what's on her jacket on this.
It would make more sense to have a skull on her jacket.
And also, my editions, none of my editions have numbers on. 0. So when I
Helpful.
organise them on my shelf, after pulling them down, I have to try and remember which order all 14 fucking books go in.
And you
You
don't
You say
Really?
try like you don't remember. Come on.
No,
Get one,
I
son.
don't. They could genuinely be all in the wrong order right now. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I know the new season, but after Dark Days, because it's like the first 3 were in paperback, and then I've got the 1 hardback, 2 paperback, and then I know Dark Days. After that, until Resurrection, it's just like,
Do you think maybe it's a symbol thing? Or do you think it's just delicate paisley?
I mean, like, paisley is supposed to be, you know, like when men want flowers and they're like, but I don't want flowers, I don't want florals, and then they have paisley.
Oh yeah, when they're scared of a little bit of decor. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, basically, this is what my partner's tie has, and he used to call it paisley, and I was like, it's floral. It's like, it's paisley. He's less up himself now.
Okay, good.
I've taught him well.
to hear it. Okay, so anything else? Emma, do you think you understand the book better now that we've had this discussion, or?
I mean, I know more.
Good.
I have already reset the audiobook and put it to 1.5 times speed, so I will be spending 5 hours and 11 minutes of my life rereading it just to put myself through the again.
That's fair. Okay, in which case, Dark Days. Now, what I love is that China's got the symbols on her arm now. Love that. We've got him coming back, which I also enjoy.
Is that Jack?
Jack.
Let's Spring Hill Jack.
Look at
Spring
me.
Hill
I'll
Jack.
say something which makes me a bad person, but I feel like it's relevant. So on all of the, it'll make sense in a second, on all of the series art, I don't think China is drawn out on these editions that I have. All of my editions are like this. And I don't think there's any art for her until later on. Remembering I picked these up when I was about the same age as Val is in the books, I always thought that China was Asian.
I mean,
and it
I
Yeah, but
split.
it's because
And
the name's China. Yeah. So
And
nice
until
and
I
vague,
read
isn't it?
Dead or Alive, and I was reading through it, and then it just clicked in my head. I was like, do I even know what her ethnicity is? Have they ever
No.
mentioned her ethnicity? I don't think so. But
It's always
my
pretty ambiguous.
11-year-old brain went, China, Asian.
Hmm.
And so
Mine did
now,
the exact
like,
same
when I
thing.
saw that, my brain went, but that arm's white. How is that China? And then my brain went, no, Abby, we've done this.
You can't ask someone that. Why are you
Can't ask someone why they're white. But
Oh,
yes,
that's
Dark
nice.
Days. Would you
So-
like the synopsis? Oh, yours
Go
is
on.
much shorter than
No.
mine.
Mine's super short. The ones on these are always super, super short. So
I
all
mean-
I have.
This one
is-
was tiny.
There you go. That's fair. No, but this is like super short. It's 2 sentences.
Well, you go first, and I'll do this one.
Because the first sentence is just the 4th book in a best-selling Skullduggery Pleasant series. That's it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, to be fair, knowing that there was 11 books after that dramatic ending of Skullduggery being dragged into the elsewhere was less tense, because I was like, oh, cool, I'll just pick up the next book then, shall I? Like, I didn't, because I knew I would get confused, but I was like less tense because of it. But apparently,
When I read that, this hadn't even been announced. When I read that,
yeah,
and I
tense.
was like, what?
Skullduggery is gone, sucked into a parallel dimension. There is no official plan to save him, but Valkyrie never had time for plans. ...
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, so settle back, get a drink. This is long. Skullduggery Pleasant is gone, sucked into a parallel dimension, overrun by the Faceless Ones. If his bones haven't already been turned to dust, chances are he's insane, driven out of his mind by the horror of the ancient gods. There is no official rescue mission. There is no official plan to save him. But Valkyrie's never had much time for plans. The problem is, even if she can get Skullduggery back, there might not be much left for him to return to. There's a gang of villains bent on destroying the sanctuary. There are some very powerful people who want Valkyrie dead, and if that all wasn't enough, it looks very likely that a sorcerer named Darkess is going to kill the world and everyone in it. Skullduggery is gone. All our hopes rest with Valkyrie. Sorry. The world's weight is on her shoulders, and its fate is in her hands. These are dark days indeed.
See, that doesn't
Drama.
Must be a
I
girl
forgot
being
that
white.
Darkess is mentioned in this. Until I read her name. I don't know if you saw my face, but my eyes saw Darkess and I went, oh shit.
Yeah.
That was later on.
No, I thought she was turning up in the last book.
I thought she was turning up in the one after this.
No, I thought it was the last book. You know the last line of that book? I thought it was going to be the last line of Faceless Ones. And then I was very confused.
Wait. Well, I've just read the last line and I'm underwhelmed.
That's because you know what's going to happen.
I'm now
Do I need
resisting
to
the
text you
urge
what the
to
last
check the
line
last
wrote?
sentence.
Don't
I'm
put the
messaging
last line. Massive spoilers. Massive.
No.
If I had
No.
the book, I would look, because it's not I'm going to remember.
I'm going to be honest, you would probably be fine, but I'm just going to message just Becca. I'm going to spell it wrong as well, just FYI.
I'm pretty sure I've been pronouncing it wrong for years.
Probably. So have I. That is the last line.
Yeah, that is the last line. But it's... You know what I mean! You know
Yes, I know,
what I mean!
but just as a last line,
Shut
you
up!
can tell them it wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, right then.
The last line is Darkess.
Yeah, it's more the scene that...
Hence my
Right.
reaction of
Okay.
being like, well, what the hell? Becca's like, oh, the last line.
I always say it's the last line because of the context of the scene. And then I say it's the last line that made me go, ah! When I first read it. I just got freaked. We'll stop on the spoilers now.
So what everyone can't see is that in the private chat is Emma going, you feeling the FOMO too? Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Sorry.
Also,
And then
look
I
at
was-
these.
But also, did it send 3 times for you guys? Because I only sent it once. And then put
Yeah.
never mind.
No.
It came through 3 times. Lots of
Almost as if you were
pages
saying it to us individually.
Yes, exactly. Even though it said Hannah at the end.
It did, yeah.
Apparently, we're all called Hannah now.
I can make that happen. Okay, in which case, let's leave that there. Now, I was going to say, let's host it, the next one, on the first week of June, but I can't, because I will be sleeping, because I have a big launch the day before. So, hoping that I'll be hungover / celebrating still, you know, hair of the dog maybe. So it'll be the week after that, if that's okay with you guys. So
I don't know my schedule yet for work, but if I'm free, I work in a call center. We'll see.
That's fair.
But what I will say, if me and Becca just hide, we didn't actually predict anything for the next book. Obviously, me and Becca know, so we can't. But we didn't predict anything. We just read the synopses. So what do you guys think is going to happen? While me and Becca just hide.
Well, they're going to get the skull back. That's going to happen. There's going to be shenanigans. I filmed a video the other day that I'm uploading in the next couple of days where I talk about people that I ship that don't exist in a ship in the book that they're in, but that I will happily carry that burden regardless. I now ship Tanith and China for absolutely no reason other than I think they'd be a power couple. So I don't predict it, but what I would love to happen is just like a cheeky little moment between those two, you know? Just saying it's something that I want.
They'd be the most incredible couple ever.
Right?
They just have to turn up a fight scene and the bad guys would go, nope, and they get in the opposite direction.
They'd rule the world, for sure.
Yeah.
Literally, I can imagine Landy writing that. Them two striding in, confident, and some sort of bad guy being like,
I'm good.
Nice
just
to see you
Sanguine
guys
just
again.
shrinking through the floor. Bye
I'll
bye.
shuffle this. It's fine.
Just, I surrender, I'll go. Just, sorry, I'll tidy up and everything. I'll leave.
I just work here. They're really weird. That kind of thing, you know?
I got that reference. I understood that reference.
Who are
Hello,
you, cat?
Castiel.
I
Love that.
wish. I am wearing Captain America earrings at the moment. So.
We
Love that.
He's my fave.
Anything you guys want to promote before we go?
Your new book.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
It's just
working on
released.
it.
You can only get it from Waypoint Books. Go and
Go
get
order
it.
it now.
Go. Also,
Also,
like, if you're in the mood
you're-
for Hannah's books,
in
then
your
Faceless
announcement
as well. Just
video-
while you're there.
You just linked it to the normal pre-order, not the signed pre-order.
Because it would be weird to be like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a signed option as well. I only did that because so many people were like, oh, will you sign it for me? And I was like, this is going to get like tricky. So just pick one. If you want it signed, just click that one. If you don't, because you don't care, go for the other one, you know? So I'm getting better at promoting shit that I do, but I'm not there yet.
No, you're not, because the way I found out that you had a book in the first place, not this one, the one before, was because Olivia read it for a 30 and 30
Mm-hmm.
for last month. I had no clue.
Yeah.
How
I've
did
got
I
a
not
copy of
read
it
the
somewhere.
book?
I'm sure I've got one in there.
Literally, I was watching this alone in this very room, and my jaw just went, Hannah's got a book?
See,
And then I was offended that I didn't know.
It was lovely because Leora had it in her like a video, 2 videos that she uploaded in the same week, and I was just like, guys, what a renaissance! I love this for me.
The timing as well.
to get better at promoting yourself, just imagine you're a straight white man because they have the confidence of
A straight white man.
yeah.
Yeah. Just have the audacity.
To have the confidence of a middle class white man, honestly.
Yeah,
Middle class, straight, white, cis man.
who thinks he can get away without wearing a mask because he's immortal.
Yes.
Yeah. Just imagine you're a straight white man. You
I
can,
have no idea where they've gone. I think I've got 2 upstairs, but yes, that's fine. So yes, we have Fat Lit, which is the anthology about my life, which is very funny. And then there's Bridesmaid Survival Guide, which is coming out on the 4th of June. YA rom-com, which should also be very funny. Fingers crossed.
which I will be ordering as soon as my parents will not stab me for receiving books. It may be some time. You should have seen my mother's face when I got the last parcel. I was at work on a call center, but I do it from the third room, the little box room in the house, and she opened the door, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, so yeah, your excesses are going to be £100 for accidental damage, malicious damage, fire, and theft. Because my mum's there, like,
another one. Yeah,
my mum's Scottish.
Oh,
Scared.
See, my mum's given up. She's just gone, oh, it's another book. It's another parcel.
My dad's given up, but then the only way that he hasn't is that he's like, with like an Amazon parcel coming through, and I'm like, and then once I've had the time to go, thanks for not going over. Oh look, this is lovely. And then he's like, Jackie, guess what she's got? And I'm like, yeah, man, Kev, do you have to? We were fine.
I was chatting with Molly. We were on like a StreamYard just backstage chatting, and the door went with an Amazon parcel, and her nan went and got it for her because she was back at her nan's. They were back at their nan's. Their nan just went, "That's not going to start back up again, is it?" I was like, oh, how welcoming, you're back, but now your nan's just raging because you've got these parcels.
Another way to get around it is Kindle books, because then you just get the email and no one has to know.
Sarah would be fine with that. They're just bothered about the physical space that the books take up.
Well, as you can see, my family do not have the same compunction, so it's fine.
I used to share an Amazon account with my mum, so she would get all the emails, and I would just be like, thanks for just not saying anything ever.
Yeah, my brother is on my dad's Amazon Prime, so every now and then my dad will get a notification about my brother ordering something else, and they don't even live with us, and he'll just be like, "Oh, Will bought himself another watch." Like, it's just what he do.
I've gotten to this point now where I've just started asking for extra shelves to be built and stuff like this. I'm just like, could you build? I've actually asked for shelves to hang off my ceiling, so I've got more room for Funkos.
I actually looked into
bed
ceiling storage. I was like, how can I do some sort of shelving unit across the ceiling?
I asked to brick over my bedroom window because I don't open the curtains. So I've just gone, can I just brick this up? There's a giant crack in the window. Let's just brick it, and I can just put shelving there.
See, I have 2 short shelves that are like a meter high with 3 shelves each.
What was that laugh, Becca? That was impressive.
I sound like a witch.
Sorry, Abby, you were saying, you were very rudely interrupted there. You were saying,
God, Becca. So these shelves, I've got 2 shelves about a meter high. 2 of the like full-sized Billy bookshelves, but they're the thin ones. And so they're all full, double stacked. And then I've got a load of books under my bed, and in the garage, and in the loft, and in the living room. And there's some in my mum's bedroom.
Yeah. This isn't even all of our books. This is just, okay, so that shelf is mine, and then the rest is my family's, because mine is upstairs. I've started boxing the ones that I want to take when I move, because I am manifesting that I will move out before I'm 30. Which isn't going to happen because I turn 30 in like a few months' time, but it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, right. No. We will talk more after. Anything else you want to promote before we go, or am I wrapping this up?
Commission me for art so I can rescue more rats.
And Twice Red Tails, maybe?
Yeah, there's that too if you want books. Secondhand. Mum deals with that. She don't give me money for it. She'll be like, oh, well, I paid for all of this. I'm like, they're all my fucking books.
Yeah, you should at least be getting commission.
Yeah.
But
stop giving us stock, then she'll start paying you.
Buy through twiceredtails.co.uk, not the Etsy store, so I can prove to my mum that paying for Shopify was worth it. I've got the domain for a year, so I ain't cancelling Shopify.
And on that note, it's been lovely, and I'm going to end it here. So, see you next time. Bye.